Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. Before I start the discussion, if there is no issue with the sound, please give me a thumbs up. If there is no issue, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, done. Let's start. So, we have discussed so far the concept of law of demand and law of supply. Done. So, we have discussed both law of demand and law of supply. And when you look at both of them in the market, what will happen? Either there is a surplus supply. As a result of that, the market prices will come down, or there is a scarcity deficit in the market, where the demand is greater, supply is lesser, the market prices will increase. Now there are two concepts. One is called as a movement along the curve, and the second one is called as a shift of the curve. Understand both of them very carefully. Okay, one is called as movement along the curve, and the second one is called as shift of the curve. Now what's the basic idea? Whenever you say movement along the curve, I repeat, whenever you say movement along the curve, only one factor is going to change, that is the price of the commodity. I'll give you an explanation, but understand the point first. Whenever the price of the commodity will change, the demand will change. All of you know this. Whenever the price will change, the quantity demanded should also change. For example, if you remember earlier, I gave you one number. Imagine 100 rupees, the money that you have. The price of the commodity right now is 20 rupees per unit. You'll be purchasing how many units? 5 units. And if the price increases to, let's say, 25 rupees, at the same amount, 100 rupees, now you'll be purchasing how many units? 4 units. So understand the logic here. When the price of the commodity changes, when the price of the commodity changes, the demand should also change. So when the price will change, the demand will change. That is basically called as movement along the curve. Movement along the curve. And whenever any other factor changes, for example, now start participating. I know Sunday's classes are very lengthy, right? That too economics. And after the lunch, most of you might be sitting below the fan or below the AC. Now, perfect setting for a very nice sleep. But participate, let's make it interesting. Now, let's say your taste and preference changes. Please tell me, will the demand for the product change or not? Question number one. Your taste and preference will change. Will the demand change? It should change, by the way. I hope some of you are saying no. My dear, the taste and preference, if it changes, it should change. For example, sir, how? Prove it. Let's go back in time. For example, from, let's say, consuming vegetarian, now you'll become vegan. I hope you understand the difference between vegetarian and vegan. Right? There's a very fashion now. It's a very much fashionistic. From being a vegetarian, you'll become a vegan. Please tell me, the kind of goods you will consume in the market, will it change or not? Will it change? Of course, yes. Right? From vegetarian, if you become a non-vegetarian, right? The kind of goods that you consume in the market, will it change? Again, the answer is very simple. You become very much interested in technology. You want to purchase the goods which are having very good technology now. Will the demand for the goods change? Of course, yes. Right? Can I give you one more example? What if the price of substitutes will change? We have discussed all of this. Don't say, sir, everything is new for me now. Price of substitutes will change. Will the demand for the product change? Of course, yes. So understand the logic here. Whenever the price of the product changes, whenever the price of the product changes, you will observe a movement along the curve. And when anything else changes, right? Let's say the taxes will change, or the taste and preference will change, your income will change, you'll observe shift of the curve. You'll observe shift of the curve. Now, what is the basic representation of the movement along the curve and shift of the curve? Let me show it to you. Please observe the graph here. Do not by heart anything in this graph. Numbers are not important. Just for sake of understanding, I've given the numbers. Nothing else. Do not worry about the numbers. Do not by heart the numbers. Now, let's say hypothetically you are here. And this is point L. What is the point L representation? Can you see it in the graph? Point L represents a price of 30 rupees and the quantity of 160 units. Yes or no? Point L on the graph represents a price of 30 rupees and the quantity demanded of 160 units. Now, what if the price will go down to 20 rupees? What if the price will go down to 20 rupees? Apply the law of demand. When the price will go down to 20 rupees, what should happen to the demand? Demand should automatically go up. Now, if you basically take this 180 and 20, that is the price of 20 and the quantity demanded of 180, where will this point fall? This is basically a point. Where will this point fall? The point will fall on the line, on the demand curve. Rather than this, what if the price 30 will increase to 40 rupees? Apply the law of demand. If price will go up to 40, what should happen to the demand? Will the demand go up? No, the demand should go down. Demand automatically will fall to 140. Now take this point 40 and 140. That is price of 40, demand, quantity demanded for 140. Where will this point fall? If I try to find this particular point, again the point will fall on the demand curve itself. So please look at it and now tell me, is the demand curve changing? Are you getting a new demand curve or are basically moving along the demand curve? You are going up the demand curve and down the demand curve. Answer to my question. Basically the question is this. What are you observing? Either you are going up and down along the same demand curve. Along the same demand curve. Demand curve is not changing. You are going up the curve and down the curve. Second, a new curve. Are you getting a new curve, new demand curve here? I'm pretty sure all of you will agree with me. You're basically observing the first one. Any problem with this? You're observing the first one. And if you ask me, sir, why is it falling on the same curve? Before the lunch break, I've told you how the demand curve is drawn. Do you remember that? Let me know. Do you remember how do we get the demand curve? Do you remember how do we get the supply curve? We have at different price points. How much will be the demand? So we are plotting a demand curve. When the prices will change, price of the commodity, price of the product will change, either you will observe a movement that is upward the curve or downward the curve. Any problem with this? This is called as a movement along the curve. Along the curve means on the same line, either you will go upwards or you will move downwards. You are not going to get any new line. Any problem with this? Please do let me know. These are technical terms. Please do let me know. Whenever the price of the product changes, I'm repeating it again. Whenever the price of the product changes, either the demand will go up in the curve or demand will come down along the same line, right? You are not going to create one more demand curve. Same line, either you will go upwards or downwards. Any problem? This is movement along the curve, right? Let me know any problem. And whenever there's a movement along the curve, you'll use the term contraction and expansion, right? How can you use contraction and expansion? I'll put it in the statement. Please do let me know whether I'm correct, you're able to understand or not. If the price expands from 30 rupees to 40 rupees, the demand will contract from 160 units to 140 units. I'll repeat it again. If the price expands from 30 rupees to 40 rupees, the demand will contract from 160 units to 140 units. Any problem with the statement? Can I go forward here? Any problem with the statement? So whenever the price of the product changes, you will observe movement along the curve. And just for my sake, not for your sake, just for my sake, if I ask you any doubt, any problem, if you do not have anything, please say yes or no so that I understand to move forward. And second point, if you have a doubt, please type the doubt. Don't say doubt is there. Yes, I know that doubt is there, but much more efficiency will be you type what is directly the doubt. What are the other factors? Other factors here is, please go back to earlier slides. Law of demand. Certain factors are there that will determine, right? That will determine what is the demand. Law of supply, one slide is there that will determine what is the supply in the market. So what I'm saying is only price of the product changes. Only price of the product. So when the price of the product changes, you'll observe you will move on the line of a demand curve or you will move on the line of supply curve. You will not create, there is one more, right? There is not any more demand curves created. Same line, you will go up or you will go down. That's it. That's a basic idea. But what if the price of related goods will change? Have a look at this. What if the price of related goods will change? What if the price of, right? I'm sorry. What if your taste and preference will change? What your income will change? I'll give a very simple example. Right? Think of this. Imagine there is a commodity. Whatever commodity is there, you don't worry. Imagine there's a commodity. Price of that product right now is 20 rupees. Price of the product is 20. And let's say your income is 100 rupees and total income you'll spend on purchasing this product. Now, please tell me, if your income is 100, price of the product per unit is 20, you will purchase 5 units. Yes or no? Let me know. You will be able to purchase 5 units. Now, let's say your income will increase from 100 rupees to 140 rupees. Your income is changing. Price of the product is not changing. Your income is changing. So, from 100 units to 140 units. Now, tell me, at 140 units, you will purchase 7 units. Is the price of the product changing? Let me know. Is the price of the product changing? Price of the product is not changing. But at the same price, you are able to purchase more units. Is the logic okay? At the same price, you are able to purchase more units. Now, don't you think, if this is the line, let me draw it separately so that you understand it here. Please understand this now. Imagine this is the old demand curve. Imagine this is the old demand curve. Now, don't you think earlier at 20 rupees, you are able to purchase 5 units. You are able to have a quantity demand of 5 units. Now your income has become 140. So rather than 5 units, will you not demand 7 units? So what will be the new point? The new point will be here. In the same way, what if at, let's say, 140 rupees, what if the price of the product is this much? The new point will be here. At this price, the new point will be here. And at this price, the new point will be here. Now connect all the dots. Don't say, sir, some of the dots are not connecting. Don't worry. Assume all of them are connecting. So have a look at this. What has happened to the demand curve here? Can I say, with change in the income, that is with increase in the income, what has happened to the demand? With increase in income, the demand also has increased. Demand also has increased. Any problem with this? Please do let me know. And with the increased demand, what has happened to the demand curve? Can I say demand curve has shifted to the right? Demand curve has shifted to the right. Can opposite happen? Can the opposite also happen? Of course, yes. Rather than income increasing from 100 rupees to 140, what if income will fall down to 60 rupees? Let me know. What if income will fall down to 60 rupees? So at 20 rupees per unit, rather than purchasing 5 units, now you'll be able to purchase only 3 units. So automatically demand will decrease. Demand will decrease to this point. In the same way, all the new points will also shift to the left. And as a result of this, what will happen to the new demand curve? Now, new demand curve will be shifted to the left here. Any problem in understanding this concept? So the curves are shifting. You're creating a new demand curve or a new supply curve. And this will happen whenever price remains the same. Please remember, Price is not changing. Price is remaining same. But other factors are changing. Your income might change, right? The taxes might change. Or for that matter, let's say your taste and preference might change, etc., etc. So just the logic is simple here. Do not complicate it. Logic is simple. You know there are various factors that will affect supply and demand. Point number one. Okay, I'll go point by point. Please let me know. There are various factors that will influence the supply and the demand. If price changes, only price of the product, price of the commodity. If only the price will change, you'll observe movement along the curve. You'll observe movement along the curve. It could be along the supply curve or along the demand curve. But if other factors will change, if other factors which influence the demand will change, then you'll observe shift of the curve. In some cases, the curve can shift to the right. In some cases, the curve can shift to the left. But what is very important here, whenever I'm saying other factors, price of the product is constant. Price of the product is constant. It is unchanging. It is constant. Right? That is basically shift of the curve. Done? Why does it move to the left and right? My dear, if your income goes up from 100 rupees to 140, rather than purchasing 5 units, right? This is the reason I gave you calculation also. Rather than purchasing 5 units at 20 rupees per unit, now at 140 units, you'll be able to purchase 7 units. Yes or no? I hope you understand. Will it increase the quantity that you purchase in the market? Of course, yes. If it falls down to 60 rupees, your income will fall down to 60 rupees. Will you be able to purchase 5 units? No, you will be able to purchase only 3 units. Now, when the price of the product is same, but your income is changing, don't you think this point will shift to the right or left? If you go back to your coordinate geometry classes, simple idea. If you please go back to your coordinate geometry classes, imagine, right? These are the different points, right? Let's say these are the different quantities: 1 unit, 2 units, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And this is 20 rupees. Price is not changing. Keep it same 20 rupees. At 100 rupees, how many units you'll be able to purchase? Your point is here. Now your income will go up to 140 units. So at the same 20 rupees, don't you think your point will shift to the right here? Let me know. Point will shift to the right. If at 20 rupees it is going to shift to the right, automatically at other price levels also, the point should shift to the right. The whole curve will shift to the right. Now, rather than 100 rupees, what if your income will fall down to 60 rupees? Will you be able to purchase 5 units at 20 rupees per unit? No. You will be able to purchase only 3 units. What has happened to the point? Point has shifted to the left. So logic is simple. Quantity demanded will change at the same price. And if this is going to change, automatically other points will also change. So the new curve will either shift to the left or shift to the right. Right? That is basically shifting of the curve. It can happen in case of demand curve. It can happen in case of supply curve as well. But what is the logic here? Price remains the same. Other factors will change. Point number 2, we use the term increase and decrease. If the income increases from 100 units, 100 rupees to 140, 140 units, then right, basically the demand will increase from 5 units to 7 units. That is basically the idea. Any difficulty here? Can we go forward? Is the curve drawn only for one particular commodity? Yes, you can draw for one commodity. You can draw for whole market as well. Demand curve, same curve. My dear, this is the original demand curve. Original. Do you understand original? Let me know. This is the original demand curve. This is a new demand curve. Has the demand curve not shifted? Let me know. Has the demand curve not shifted to the left or right here? This is a new demand curve. This is a new demand curve. So either the demand curve will shift to the left or right. Again, please understand. That's the reason I'm not getting into the details. There is a technical, some of the commerce students will start correcting me. Sir, there is a difference between demand and quantity demanded, etc., etc. Don't worry. For GS paper, please stick to the basics. Basics is more sufficient for you. Price changes, movement along the curve. Simple. Price of the product changes, movement. Movement means contraction, expansion. And second, the other factors will change. It's not movement, shift of the curve. And when there's a shift of the curve, it is basically increase or decrease. Simply remember these combinations. Okay. It will shift, but same slided curve. My dear, it has to be either this side, this slide only. I hope you understand. Sir, do you think the curve will shift from like this to like this? How? You tell me. Do you think the curve will shift suddenly from downward sloping to upward sloping? No. It has to either shift to the left or shift to the right. Either this side or that side. It cannot become vertical. It cannot become horizontal. You're basically destroying law of demand for a product then. Done? Okay. So this is basically the concept of shift and right the contraction. I'm sorry, the movement along the curve. Remember the combinations, that's more than sufficient. That's more than sufficient. The shift can happen either to the left or to the right. Right? The movement will happen upwards or downwards. Now, types of goods, certain more concepts are types of goods. Let's have a classification of types of goods. The first classification is based on income. Based on the income, we will have two types of goods. One is called as a normal, second one is called as inferior. Now, let me start with the example. I will ask question after that. Listen to this very carefully. Imagine there are two qualities of rice. I'll call this as rice 1 and rice 2. Just to make you understand. Let's say there are two types of rice. Rice 1, you can get it at 10 rupees per kg, and rice 2, you will get it at, let's say, 40 rupees per kg. A simple question to you people. Your income will increase. Your income will increase. Now, please tell me, with rise in the income, will you purchase more of a rice 1 or rice 2 variety? Simple logic, by the way. You don't have to be a very good economist for this. Your income will increase. Will you purchase more of a rice 1 or a rice 2? Those who are saying, sir, rice 1 I'll purchase more, please tell me why. Why? It's a very, very inferior quality rice. All of you will agree? 10 rupees per kg means inferior quality. Imagine some of you are saying, what will be my income? My dear, imagine your income will increase from, let's say, 1000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees. At least now you can understand what I'm trying to convey to you people. From 1000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees, automatically what you will do is, until now, because the income was 1000 rupees, limited amount of income, you would be purchasing more of rice 1 variety. Any problem with this? Because the income was lesser, you will purchase more of rice 1. Now your income has increased from 1000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees. You will reduce purchasing of rice 1. You will purchase more of rice 2. Any problem with this? You'll purchase more of rice 2. Now, what if I say your income rather than 1000 rupees will fall down to 500 rupees? From 1000 rupees, your income will fall down to 500 rupees. Will you purchase more of rice 2 or more of rice 1? I hope you understand. Will you purchase more of rice 2 or rice 1? You'll purchase more and more of rice 1. Why? Very cheaper. Very cheaper. So, because the income is lesser, income has come down, automatically you'll purchase more and more of rice 1. Now, based on this, can I write a very simple equation? Very, very simple equation. There are two goods here. I'll repeat it, understand this carefully. There are two goods. What you can observe is, in one kind of a good, as the income goes up, the demand will also go up, and as the income goes down, demand will also go down. Right? Let me know, correct or not. In one type of a product, right, that is basically second variety of rice. Second variety of rice. As the income goes up, demand will go up, and as the income will go down, demand will go down. And in case of first variety of rice, as the income goes up, demand will go down, and as the income will go down, demand goes up. Any problem with this? Any problem with this? Please do let me know right now. And let me make it much more general. Here the relation is positive. Here the relation is negative. Yes? Rice 2, the relation is positive, and rice 1, relation is negative. That's it. This is basically a normal good. This is basically referred to as a normal good, and this is called as inferior good. Any problem? Please do let me know. And if you ask me the definition, you already have understood the definition. What's the definition of a normal good? These are the types of goods where, with the change in the income, in the same direction, demand will also change. I'm giving you the definition. Please do let me know. Normal goods are those set of goods where the change in the income in the same direction, the demand for the goods will also change. That is, if the income goes up, demand goes up. If the income goes down, demand goes down. Sir, any example of the normal goods? TVs, refrigerators, cars, etc. Please tell me. If all of us start earning more and more income, if our incomes will increase, don't you think the demand for smartphones will increase? The demand for refrigerator, ACs, cars, etc. will they increase or not in the market? Does it make sense to you? Anybody has a problem with this? Please do let me know. And this is a very important indicator, by the way. Very, very important indicator. For example, look at this data and tell me whether this is a very good indicator for Indian economy or not. The demand for the cars, that is luxury cars, will increase, and the demand for two-wheelers will decrease. This is how you understand economics. Tell me now, is this a good indicator for Indian economy? The demand for the luxury cars will start increasing, and the demand for the two-wheelers will start decreasing. Those who are saying good indicator, please be very careful. Please be very careful. Why? I'll tell you. Is it a normal car whose demand is increasing? Tell me. Is it a normal car? Is it, let's say, Tata Nano, Alto, right? Is that the car when you say luxury car? No. I'm talking about Audi cars. I'm talking about Rolls-Royce cars. I'm talking about Volkswagen cars, high-end luxury cars. Do you think a higher demand for luxury cars represents a reduction in poverty? Let me know. Does it mean there is a reduction in poverty? But on the other side, the demand for two-wheelers is decreasing. What does it indicate? If the demand for two-wheelers is mainly used by middle-class households, my dear, the poor households as well as the middle-class households, the demand for the two-wheelers will start decreasing. Is this a good indicator? Some of you will simply say, but sir, I assumed it has happened. No, I'm not saying demand for, let's say, Tata Nano is increasing. I did not say that. I did not say, right, Alto car demand has increased. That would simply indicate, okay, middle class is actually bulging. Middle class households are actually earning more. But I'm saying luxury car demand has increased. Do you think all people in India can afford luxury cars? Very small part of the population in India, very, very small part of the population can afford a luxury car. What about two-wheelers? Right? Don't you think if the two-wheelers income, sorry, the demand for the two-wheelers increases, it is generally an indicator that people within the poverty households, people in the lower income households, they are earning more, they want to purchase a two-wheeler. Does it indicate or not? That's a basic idea. That's the reason why generally if you're reading newspapers, they will talk about two-wheeler demand in the market. They will talk about four-wheeler demand. They will not talk about, let's say, luxury cars. They'll simply say four-wheeler cars. Any problem in understanding the logic behind it? Let me know. Any problem in understanding the logic behind it? Right? The one is normal goods. Second one is inferior goods. Sir, any example of an inferior good? What about public transportation? What about cereals? Cereals such as jowar and bajra. Jowar and bajra. Now, before you jump and tell me, sir, but jowar and bajra are millets, these are very healthy, etc., etc. Historically, this is the indication. Historically, whenever you talk about millets, the consumption of millets has been connected to poor people in India. If you don't trust me, read government documents. Even the government of India says so. Now, government of India is promoting consumption of millets, no doubt. But historically, who consumes jowar, who consumes bajra, other kinds of millets? It has been the poor people. It has been poor people. Historically, that is the connection that we have made. And that's the reason whenever the income of the people, right, automatically will increase, they will reduce consumption of the millets. They will start consuming, let's say, superior quality rice. Right? Whenever income of the people will increase, they will purchase a two-wheeler. They'll purchase a four-wheeler. And if people will purchase a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, what will happen to public transportation, such as buses? The demand for the public transportation automatically will go down. Any problem with the argument here? Please do let me know. Right? So inferior, opposite direction. Simple, opposite direction. Whereas in case of normal goods, same direction. Right? The income and demand will move in same direction in case of normal. In inferior, opposite direction movement. So this is one set of goods. Let me go to another set of goods. Giffen goods and Veblen goods. Earlier, if you remember, I gave you certain exceptions to the law of demand. Do you remember that? Certain exceptions to law of demand. This is one more set of exception. One is called as a Giffen good. Second one is called as a Veblen good. Now, what is a Giffen and a Veblen? In both the cases, that is a Giffen and a Veblen, price and demand will move in same direction. I'll repeat the statement. Understand this. In case of both Giffen and Veblen, price and demand will move in same direction. That's the reason this, I said, is an exception to the law of demand. Now you will ask me, sir, if the price and demand are moving in same direction, why two names? And second, how? How is that the price and demand move in the same direction? Is it not exception to the law of demand? Let me explain it. Let me start with the Veblen good. Please understand, Veblen goods are those goods which are consumed by very rich people. Very, very rich people. Not the middle class, not the Aam Aadmi, not the poor person. Very, very rich people in the society consume certain set of goods which are called as Veblen goods. Whereas Giffen goods are consumed by very poor people. Very, very poor people in the economy. Example. Let me give a very simple example. High quality diamonds. First and foremost, who will purchase a high quality diamonds? Let me know. Who will purchase a high quality, very, very high carat diamonds? Right? Do you think a poor person will be able to purchase high quality diamonds? Of course, no. Very rich people who do not have any scarcity of money. Very, very rich people. And you tell me, if high quality diamonds are produced, what will be the price of it? Price of it automatically will be very high. And because these are very high quality diamonds and prices are very high, there will be certain section of the society, certain people in the society who will purchase more and more of such products. And now you will tell me, sir, it doesn't make any sense. When the price is so high, why are they purchasing more and more of it? My dear, they will purchase, wear it because they want to showcase it. They want to showcase to the rest of the world that they are very rich. right? They want to basically become a part of very small group of people in the whole world, right? For example, have you seen super luxury cars, very high end luxury cars? Sir, any example of a high end luxury car? What about Rolls and Royce? What about Bugatti cars? Certain Rolls and Royce, the cars, certain types of cars, these are produced only 3 units. 5 cars, Bugatti cars, high end, very high end. 5 cars are manufactured, 3 cars are manufactured, but these are very costly. But even though these are very costly, there is always a very high demand for it for a very simple reason. There is certain section of the society who wants to display that, who wants to basically showcase it to the rest of the world, say that they belong to very rich class. That's the reason demand for such products will be very high. Any problem in understanding the concept of Veblen products? Please do let me know. These are used as status symbols. These are used as status symbols. Right? For example, certain people you might have seen, they will purchase Lamborghini cars. Although these are very costly, very costly. They'll purchase a yacht. They'll purchase a high-end real estate. They will purchase super high-end quality jewelry or quality diamonds, etc. These are status symbols. This is called as Veblen goods. Can I go to the next one? Can I go to the Veblen goods? And those are asking Giffen goods. My dear, I have not even discussed Giffen goods. This is very interesting. Some students are saying, repeat Giffen goods. I have not even discussed Giffen goods. Listen to the lecture. So, Veblen goods. Come to the Giffen goods. Very peculiar. Come to the Giffen goods. Giffen goods, point number 1. These are very inferior goods. These are very inferior goods. Now, please tell me, what is the meaning of inferior goods? What is the meaning of inferior goods? Inferior goods are those set of goods which are consumed by poor people. All of you remember that? These are very cheap, right? Consumed by poor people. Now, point number 2, even in case of Giffen goods, when the price of the goods will increase, demand will increase. Many of you will be confused. Let me give you example. Have patience. Listen carefully. Even in case of Giffen goods, when the price increases, demand will increase. Now, someone will say, how is that possible? How is that possible that when the price is increasing, demand will increase? That too, the goods which are purchased by poor people. Let me explain it. Imagine here is one person, very poor person. He has to feed a family of 5 people. Here is a house. 5 people are there, total 5 people. They will have to consume food. And by the virtue of being very poor house, they'll consume what? They'll consume rice and they will consume dal. Any problem with this? They'll consume rice, but plus they will consume dal. Now, what if price of rice increases? What if the price of rice increases? What is the option available to you? You please tell me. Can you shift to the next quality rice? Possible? Think of it and tell me. Please look at the background first. It's a very poor house, very poor house. And by the virtue of being a very poor house, what is the kind of rice they are already consuming? Don't you think it is already the most inferior quality rice? Yes or no? It is already the most inferior quality product. Now, price of the rice increases. If the price of this rice is 10 rupees and if it increases to 12 rupees, what is your solution to this? Shift to the next quality rice which is 20 rupees. Possible? Possible? No, it is very difficult for this house. Can you increase consumption of dal? Think of it. Will you increase consumption of dal? That is also not possible. Why? If the rice price has increased to 12 rupees, the dal is already 80 rupees per kg. So what is the solution? What this house will do is, they will reduce the consumption of dal and they will increase the consumption of same inferior quality rice. Any problem with this? Let me know. They will reduce the consumption of dal. But what they will do is they cannot remain hungry, right? I hope you understand. They cannot remain hungry. So what they will do is same most inferior quality rice. No doubt the price has increased to 12 rupees, right? What they will do is they will increase the consumption of same inferior quality rice. Substitution is not possible. Don't say, sir, why are they not substituting? Because please understand the background here. This is the most inferior product. If you want to substitute that, the next product which is available, a substitute, is much more costlier, right? They cannot do that. They do not have sufficient amount of money to do that. So what they will do is they will reduce the consumption of dal, but they will increase the consumption of same most inferior quality of rice. But what has happened here? Price of the rice has increased, so has been the demand for rice. Any problem in this? Any problem with this? Please do let me know. Right, so one is a Giffen good and the second one is Veblen good. Right, and don't say, sir, both are same. No, my dear. Giffen goods are consumed by very, very poor houses, and Veblen goods are consumed by very, very rich people in the society. Right, but both of them is same. Price and demand will move in same direction. Price and demand will move in same direction. Okay. Next, merit goods and demerit goods. Merit goods and demerit goods. In case of merit goods, more such goods or services are consumed, it will provide more benefit to the economy or the society. Simple idea. More such goods are consumed, more benefit to the economy or society. For example, education, healthcare, nutritious food. Please do let me know. Healthcare, don't you think better quality healthcare, if it is available, it will provide benefit to the whole economy? What about education? If people get better educated, they will have better degrees or let's say higher qualifications. If they have better or higher qualification, they will get better jobs. If they get better jobs, they will not only produce, right, or they will not only have better productivity, they will earn more salary, they will bring the whole family out of poverty. So look at this. Not only the family is getting the benefit, but also, right, the whole economy is getting the benefit. Any problem with this? Any problem with this? Please do let me know. So the merit goods are those kinds of goods or services. More these are consumed, more benefit will be provided to the whole economy or society. And can I say this? Let me know whether this makes sense to you or not. The merit goods will have positive externality or positive spillover effect. Merit goods will have a positive spillover effect or positive externality. Spillover. Don't ask me, sir, what is meaning of spillover now? Did we discuss the concept of spillover earlier? What do you mean by spillover? Spillover or externality simply means something happening outside having an impact on another event. Simple logic. There are two events that are happening. Impact of one event will be felt in the next event or subsequent event. I gave you examples. Russia-Ukraine war. I gave you example of China having imposed a certain restriction over export of certain minerals, etc., etc. Now, if I am better educated, will the benefit be experienced by the whole economy? Let me know. If USA will introduce latest technology in fighting coronavirus, will India get the benefit of it? Can you understand this? Right? Let's say a new vaccination is found which can cure cancer. It is found in USA. Right? Don't you think that's a medicine? Medicine, healthcare. India will get the benefit of it. Is it not a positive spillover effect? Any problem with this? Is it not a positive spillover effect? Right? So the merit goods generally have a positive spillover effect. Otherwise, you want to understand the best example of it. You have got a very good education. You're a software engineer. You will work for an American company. Don't you think an American company, which is not an Indian company by the way, American company is going to get the benefit of education system in India? Right? At least now you should be able to understand. So positive spillover effects, right? That is merit good. What about demerit goods? Tobacco, alcohol. Best example, tobacco and alcohol. Now these products that I gave as an example, first and foremost, right, these will have a negative impact on the not only the consumer but on the whole society, whole economy. So how tobacco will have a negative impact on the whole economy? How, right? Let's say liquor products will have an impact on the whole economy. My dear, if I'm going to consume lot of liquor product, if that's very important by the way, if I consume a lot of liquor, I will take my car, go on the road. Please tell me, am I danger to myself as well as pedestrians on the road or not? Let me know. Am I a danger to myself as well as a pedestrian? Of course, yes. So understand tobacco. I will smoke the cigarette. If by the way, if I smoke the cigarette standing on the road, people who are passing by, who are sitting nearby me will basically inhale it. Is it going to have an impact on them as well as me because I'm smoker? Of course, yes. So understand the logic here. In case of demerit goods, more these goods or services are consumed, more will be the negative impact on the economy. More will be the negative impact on the whole economy or the society. That's the reason demerit goods will carry negative spillover effect. Merit goods will carry positive spillover effect and demerit goods will carry negative spillover effect. Okay. Example of demerit goods, alcohol products as well as tobacco products. Done. So merit goods, demerit goods. Next, public goods and private goods. Understand this very carefully. Public goods and private goods. Let me start with a very simple example. Imagine there is a showroom, car showroom. Okay. Imagine there is a car showroom. There are 10 cars which are there in the showroom. You will go to the showroom. Point number one. Will you get the car free of a cost? Let me know. Will you get these cars free of a cost? No, which means you will have to pay money to get the product. If you do not pay money, you cannot get access to the good or service. Very simple idea. If you don't pay money, you cannot get access to the good or a service. This is called as excludability. Do you understand the English term excludable? English term excludable. You pay money, only then you will get the service or the good. Point number two. You will pay, let's say, 10 lakh rupees. You will purchase the car from the showroom. Will it reduce the quantity of the goods available in the market or not? Let me know. Right, there are 10 cars. You will purchase one of it. Will it reduce the availability of cars in the market? Will it reduce how many goods are available to others? Answer is yes. This is basically called as rivalry. Understand two terms here. Understand the two terms. So one is excludability. Excludability means what? You will have to pay money to get the good or service. Otherwise, you can be excluded. You can be excluded. You pay money, you can use it. You don't pay money, right? You will be excluded. Right? That is first feature. Second feature is rivalry. Rivalry means what? Whenever the good is consumed, you will purchase one of the car. It reduces the availability of cars for others. Until now in the market, 10 cars were available. Now 10 are not available. 9 cars are available. That is called as rivalry feature. Any problem with both of the features? Please do let me know. So rivalry as well as excludability, these are the features of private goods. Rivalry and excludability, these are the features of the private goods. Excludability, rival. Again, both of them you are asking. Let me start again. Understand this carefully. You go to the showroom, 10 cars are there in the showroom. So anybody from the public can go to a showroom. How many cars are available? 10. But you will pay money and purchase one of the car. So tell me, when you purchase one car, how many more cars are available for consumption in the market? Has it not reduced the availability of cars in the market? Rivalry. Rivalry means that product is not available. It reduces the availability of products in the market. Rivalry. Excludability means you want to purchase a car, you will have to pay money for it. You pay money, only then you will be able to use the car. If you do not pay the money, you cannot use the car. That is excludability. Now let me give you a very simple example. Listen to the question very carefully and then answer to me. Your entry into public library. Tell me now, your entry into public library, is it excludable? Answer, public library. Your entry into public library, it is excludable. No, it is not excludable. Your entry into public garden, is it excludable? No, it is not excludable. Some of you are saying yes, public garden, my dear. Public garden, very important. Underline the term public garden, right? Or I'll give you a third example. Your entry into metro train. Tell me now, your entry into metro train, is it excludable or non-excludable? It is excludable. All of you will agree? Although it might be run by the government only. I'm trying to convey one point here. Although it might be run by the government only, it is not free of a cost. You will have to pay money. You'll have to pay money to get access to the metro train. It is excludable, which means what? Whenever it is provided by the government, do not assume by default it's a public good. Can you understand this? Let me know. By virtue of using a product provided by the government, it doesn't necessarily mean because the government is providing it, it is a public good. Any problem with this? Let me ask you a tricky question now. Let me ask you a tricky question. What about UPI? I'm pretty sure all of you used UPI. I'm pretty sure all of you have used UPI, Unified Payments Interface. And if you're still doubtful, sir, I've not used UPI, please tell me, have you not paid any QR based payments in the last 1 year? That is scan and pay, scan and pay, scan and pay. Think of it and answer very carefully. Is UPI excludable, non-excludable? Which means either it has to be a public good or a private good. It is a public good. UPI is a public good. My dear, it is a public good. Those who are saying excludable, please tell me, why are you saying it is excludable? You want to use UPI. Are you paying any money to use UPI? Let me know. Are you paying any money to use UPI? Don't say, sir, I'm making payment. My dear, you're not making payment to UPI. UPI is a tool. I hope you understand the logic here. UPI is a tool. Many of you said this is excludable because you're making a payment. But you're not making a payment to UPI. You're using UPI to pay money to somebody else. I hope you understand. It's basically a tool to transfer money. But are you paying money to use that tool? Can you understand my statement now? Are you paying money to use the tool? No, you are not paying any money. If you have paid money, please do let me know. Because logic is simple. Imagine you go to a shop, you'll use a QR code. QR code is there. You'll open your Google Pay, scan and make a payment. If you have to pay 1,000 rupees, money that will be transferred will be 1,000 rupees only. Are you paying any commission for using UPI? By the way, UPI is a tool which is developed by NPCI, National Payments Corporation of India, which means if you say it is excludable, are you paying money to NPCI to use UPI? I hope you understand at least now. Any problem now? UPI is a public good, by the way. This is how UPC will test you. I hope you understand. This is how UPSC will test you. You will come shouting out of the room saying that, right, this is useless, that is useless, etc., etc. But this is how UPSC will test you. Please be very careful. Now, any difference in understanding what is a public good, what is a private good? In case of public good, the public goods are non-rival and non-excludable. I'll give you examples also. It is there right here in front of your eyes. Defense. Please tell me, the soldiers who are standing on China border, who are providing defense to us, is it not equally available to everyone in India? Let me know. Is the defense available equally to everyone? Those who are saying no, please be very careful. Soldier is protecting all of us. The soldier who is standing right near the border, the soldier is not saying, I'll protect only the people from Rajasthan. Soldier doesn't say they will protect only the people from Punjab. No, they will say we'll protect the whole of India. So the defense is available to all of us. What about street light? What about street light? Do you think the street light which is installed by the government, it is available only to one house? That street light is available only to one person? Absolutely no. You can also walk under the street light. I can also walk under the street light. Right? So, one, public goods are non-rival, non-excludable. Private goods are excludable and rival. Sir, any example of a private goods? Just rotate. Keep your eyes open. Rotate your head like this. Whatever you see in your home, that is a private good. Mobile phone? Yes, private good. Sir, AC is running? Private good. Sir, TV is also on? Private good. Sir, mobile is also on? Private good. Right, sir, I'm holding a packet of biscuit in my hand? Private good. Sir, I'm drinking Coke? Private good. Right, all that you can see right in front of your eyes, everything is a private good. Done? So, public and private. But please understand, there is a small confusion, small clarification that is required. I told you one example. You will go to, right, let's say a public library. Point number one, I'll ask question now. You will go to a public library. Now tell me, is public library a public good or a private good based on only this? Only this information that I've given. Right? So we will walk into a public library. Is it a public good or private good? Public good. You don't have to pay money. Right? Anybody can walk into a public library. But look at the next question. The book that is there in the public library. I repeat, the book that is there in the public library. Now think of it and tell me, is it rival or non-rival? Book. I'm not talking about library. Book I'm talking. Or the Hindu newspaper that is there in the public library. Don't you think that is a rival product? Any problem in understanding this? If you still have a doubt, imagine you go to a public library. You can also go, I can also go. But there is only one Hindu newspaper. I've already taken the Hindu newspaper. I'm reading it. Now think of it and tell me, if only one Hindu newspaper is there, I'm using it. Is it available for you at the same point of time? Can you use the same Hindu newspaper at the same point of time? No. So the availability, right, is lower. Can I call it as a rival product? At least now, does it make sense or not? Right? So understand this very carefully. Whenever you're talking about a book in the public library, that is basically type of products which are non-excludable but are rival. Done? Which are non-excludable but are rival. These are called as common goods. These are called as common goods. And on the other side, the products which are excludable, but are non-rival. These are club goods. For example, right, think of it. You will watch a match on, let's say, Star Plus or Star Sports. You're watching a particular match, let's say Ashes Test Series. Have you paid money to get the connection, DTH connection? Point number one. Have you paid money to get DTH connection? Yes, which means it is excludable. DTH connection is excludable. Point number two, if you're watching the same match, that is Ashes Test Series, England versus Australia, can I also at the same point of time watch the same match? Can your friend also watch the same match, that is using the Star Sports connection? Can your neighbor also use the Star Sports and watch the same match? Possible or not? Or else the best example, you're watching my lecture. You have paid certain amount of money, you have got the course. Now you are also watching, your friend is also watching, your neighbor is also watching, your competitor sitting in another city is also watching the same lecture. So it is excludable but not rival. These are called as club goods. These are called as club goods. So you can generally classify the goods into four types based on rival, non-rival, excludable, non-excludable. One is a private good, second one is a public good, third one is a common good, fourth one is a club good. Okay, so this is one more classification of goods. Next, based on the presence in the economy, one is called as an intermediate good, second one is final goods. One is an intermediate, second one is final good. Now, let me ask you a very simple question. Very simple question. Right? Let's say steel is produced by a company. Okay, there is a company A. Company A will produce steel. There is a company B. Company B will produce cement. Now, don't you think steel and cement will be used by one more company C? They will produce or they will construct a house and you will purchase the house. Yes or no? Any issue here? Please do let me know. A will produce a steel. It's also good. B will produce a steel. That is also good. But consumers in the market, we are not going to purchase it. What A and B will do is, they will sell their goods to another company C. The company C will purchase a steel, purchase a cement, purchase a brick, etc. They will construct the house. You will purchase the house. I will purchase the house and will start using. And please remember this. When I said you will purchase and I will purchase, we are purchasing for the purposes of using the house, living in the house. We are not purchasing for the purposes of selling. No, we want to consume. We want to use the product. So understand the logic here. Whenever the products are consumed in the market for consumption purposes, I repeat, whenever the products are purchased in the market for consumption purposes, for usage purposes, it is called as a final good. And whenever products are purchased in the market for using as a raw material to produce one more good, using it as an input in producing one more good, that is called as intermediary good. Any difficulty here? Please do let me know right now. Whenever a product is produced and it is purchased in the market, not for consumption, we want to use it as an input to manufacture one more good. And that good is called as intermediary good. And when a product is manufactured or produced, sold in the market, and the buyer will use it, will not again sell it, will use it in the market, that is called as a final good. Any problem here? Can I go forward? For example, you will go to the market and purchase a car. For what purpose? You'll purchase the car for riding. You'll purchase a mobile For what purpose? You want to use the mobile. You'll purchase a washing machine. For what purpose? Right? To wash clothes in your home. So the examples that I gave you just now, these are final goods. But on the other side, let's say a car manufacturing company such as Maruti will purchase tires which are manufactured by MRF. Car company, let's say Maruti, will purchase certain steel from another company, let's say Jindal Steel. Those products are nothing but intermediary goods. Can I go forward? Intermediary goods are used for producing other goods, whereas final goods are there in the market for consumption purposes. Right? This is basically the classification, one more classification, intermediary and final. And there is one more term here, no value addition, and there is a value addition. What do you mean by this? Let me ask you a very simple question. Imagine you are a manufacturer of this marker. Can you see the stylus or marker, whatever name you want to call it? Can you see it? It is there in my hand. Let's say it is made up of plastic, and you will purchase plastic at 30 rupees. Please answer to my question now. You'll purchase the plastic at 30 rupees. Will you sell the marker at 30 rupees in the market? Let me know. If there is anyone in the classroom who says, right, yes sir, please do let me know. You paid 30 rupees for the plastic you purchased. Will you sell this in the market at 30? Of course no. You will end up selling it at, let's say, 100 rupees. Can I say there is a value addition done in the market? Let me know now. Is there value addition done to the product or not? That is, you purchase something at 30, you will sell it at 100. How much value addition you have done now? You have done a value addition of 70 rupees. Any problem in understanding value addition? Please do let me know right now. Because again, we'll use the same concept. We'll use same concept again when I'm discussing GDP. Right? Basically, idea is whatever is the value of the value of the output will be much higher compared to what is the value of input. So the difference between the value of output and the input is called as value addition. Is it okay? Right? That is called as value addition. And you will do a lot of value addition. The value addition could be because of the labor. The value addition could be because of other raw materials. Value addition could be because of technology or even profit, etc., etc. But logic is simple here. The price or the value of output is greater than the value of input, and the difference between both of them, it is called as value addition. And in this example, value addition done is basically 70. Now imagine, right, you will purchase a product for self consumption. Right? For example, you will purchase an AC for your home. You will purchase a car for your home. Is there a value addition done there? Think of it. Is there any value addition done there? Absolutely no. Now, does this make sense to you? Please do let me know now. Does the second statement under final goods, does it make sense to you? Because you'll purchase and use it. You're not reselling it in the market. You'll use it. So there is no value addition. Whereas here, intermediary goods, you'll purchase plastic, you'll purchase machinery, you'll purchase labor, etc., etc. But whatever is the cost of input, you will keep on using other things and you will sell it at a much higher price, thereby adding value. That is basically intermediary goods as well as final goods. Any problem here? Any problem? Sir, in final value addition is done as a profit, my dear. If I purchase this pen from you, it is called as a final good, and I am going to use it for my home. Then this is called as a final good. If I use it to manufacture something else, it is not a final product. So don't say in final product profit is there. Argument is simple. This is an intermediary good. I will add a profit and sell it as a final good in the market. Okay, so intermediary and a final. Next, substitute good as well as right? The complementary goods. Already we have discussed in the first session itself, we have discussed what is a substitute, what is a complement. So these are the different types of goods which you can understand, and questions have been asked. We'll discuss questions also in some time, don't worry. But before I go forward, any doubts? Any of the types of goods, the classification that we have discussed so far, any doubts, please do let me know. Sir, I will add accessories to my car then. Are you adding accessories to sell the car or for your usage? Can you understand the difference between intermediate and final? Intermediate good is sold. Final good is not sold. Final good is for consumption for yourself. Understand the difference first. Okay, any difficulties? Can I go forward? Is government school and hospital common good? Now, if you are talking about a government school where they are going to charge you fees, then it is excludable. I hope you understand it. Do not come to a conclusion. That's the reason I gave you examples of all of this. Many of you are under the impression that anything that is provided by the government, it is a public good. Think of it. Does it make sense to you? Anything that government will produce and give it to you, it's a public good. No, it doesn't make any sense. In that case, what about BSNL? What about, let's say, metro trains? These are public goods. Do you think these are public goods? BSNL, you want to make a call on the BSNL network, you'll have to purchase a product first. You'll have to subscribe to a package. Only then you're allowed to use it. Right? So the argument is simple here. Don't take product and try to find out. Apply the logic, automatically you'll understand. And some of the students, they're asking, some of the students are asking, sir, this product, is it a final or an intermediary? Let me ask you a very simple question. Think of it and tell me. Please tell me. Milk, is it a final good or an intermediary good? Let's see. Milk, is it a final good or an intermediary good? Don't you think it's very difficult to classify this as either a final or intermediary? That's the reason I'm saying don't look at the product. Look where it is being used. For example, milk used by a house. In your house, you have purchased milk, right? As you speak, your mother or your father, with worrying or with a concerning face, would have bought a cup of tea or coffee given to you. So that milk for a house is a final good. But milk in a hotel, milk in a restaurant, milk in a sweet house, it's an intermediary good. Right? I hope you understand. Do not look at the product. Look at where it is being used. In the same way, I'll say car. Tell me now. I'll simply say car. Right? Based on this, only this information, can you say it's a final good? No. What if I say car is purchased by a distributor? What if I say car is purchased by the distributor? And some of you will say, sir, but you have written car here. My dear, car for self-use. Because I've written final consumers here. That's a reason. Right? Car is purchased by a distributor. Intermediary good. Car is purchased by you and me for consumption. It's a final good. So I hope you understand from one context to another context, it might vary. Is it okay? Right? So this is a basic idea. Please revise it again. More you revise, more comfortable you will become with the concepts. Let me go to the next one. Concept of elasticities. Concept of elasticities. Now, first and foremost, what is elasticity? Please understand, elasticity simply refers to flexibility. Flexibility. What do you mean by flexibility? Right. For example, I'll just go back to your high school. Please go back. Imagine this. You will only understand it. When, let's say, in the high school or in the college, when they were teaching you physics, they would have discussed something called as a force. Elasticity is of force. That is, your faculty or teacher would have brought, right, an eraser and a rubber. The faculty or the teacher will pull the rubber and they'll simply say, see, with little force, very little force, I'm able to expand the whole, right, rubber. But on the other hand, They'll simply take an eraser, Natraj eraser, and they'll try to pull it. And they'll simply say, doesn't matter how much force I'm putting, I'm not able to flex it. I'm not able to pull it apart. Yes or no? Do you remember that picture, which is basically which you must have seen in your high school, or let's say even in the college? Apply the same logic here also. Apply the same logic. That is, if the price changes, if there is a change in the price, then how much will be the change in demand? You want to measure it. You want to simply measure it. If there is a change in the income, as a result of change in the income, how much will be the change in the demand? You want to measure it. So this measurement is nothing but elasticity. Any problem with this? The measurement that you want to do is nothing but elasticity. That is, elasticity measures the change in the demand for a product whenever there is a change in variables such as price of the product, price of the related goods, income of the consumer, etc., etc., etc. Now, let me ask you a very simple question. Let's say, hypothetically, let's say there is one product, price of the product changes by 1%. Okay, price of the product changes by 1%. Changes, either increase or decrease, doesn't matter. But because the price is changing by 1%, the demand will suddenly change, right? Very, very quickly change by, let's say, 10%. Understand my statement here? Price of the product changes by 1%, but the demand for the product changes by 10%. Can I say the demand is very elastic? Think of it and let me know. I'll repeat it again. Price of the product changes just by 1%. The demand changes by 10%. Can I call this product as having very, very elastic demand? Meaning what? A small force of 1%, price force of 1% is applied, and as a result of this, demand has changed by 10%. Very elastic. But on the contrary, let's say hypothetically, the price changes by 5%. Price changes only by 5%. But the demand will change only by 0.1%. Can I call this as an elastic demand? Can I say this is very, very less elastic rather than this inelastic? Right? Not elastic, less elastic, etc. Rather than using that, can I call this as having inelastic demand? That's a basic idea. So what are we measuring here? Elasticity means measurement. But what are we measuring? We are taking one parameter such as price of the product itself, price of related goods, right? Income of the consumer, etc. As a result of this, how much is the change in the demand? We are trying to measure that. That is the concept of elasticity. Now, basically, there are four types of elasticities. One is price elasticity of a demand, PED. Second one is income elasticity of a demand, ID. Third one is a cross elasticity of a demand, CD. And the fourth one is a price elasticity of supply. So four types. 1, 2, and 3 talk about elasticity in the demand. And the fourth one, only one type in case of supply. Let's go one by one. I'll show you the calculation, but for examination, do not worry about calculation. UPSC is not going to ask you calculations. Let's start. First one, price elasticity of a demand. PD, price elasticity of demand. Now, what is the meaning of the term price elasticity of a demand? PD measures what is the percentage change in the demand as a result of change in percentage change in the price of the product. I'll repeat it again, not very difficult. Understand, a very simple idea. if there is 1% change in the price of the product, by how much percentage the demand is changing. That is basically the measurement which is called as price elasticity of supply. Right? For example, let me show it to you. Let me show it to you. Right? I'll give you calculations, but do not by heart. UPSC is not going to ask you. Let's say this is the price and this is right the demand. Price will change from 10 rupees to let's say 12 rupees. How much is the change in terms of percentage? Can I say percentage change is 20%? I'm directly throwing the numbers now. Let me know. Price has changed from 10 rupees to 12 rupees. So the price has changed by 20%. The demand has changed, let's say, from 500 units to 480 units. Is it okay? The demand has changed from 500 units to 480 units. I will simply write it, right? I'll simply write it as demand has fallen. Demand has fallen by 4%. Any problem in terms of percentages? I'm directly throwing it. Do not calculate. If you want to check my CSAT, you can check it later using calculator. Substitute. Simply substitute. So I'll write the formula here. Price elasticity of a demand. So percentage change in the demand is how much? 4%. And percentage change in the price is how much? 20%. Right? So cancel for 1s are, for 5s are. PD is nothing but 0.2. PD is nothing but 0.2. And remember this, whenever price elasticity of a demand is less than 1, whenever PD is less than 1, we'll simply call this a demand as inelastic demand. Sir, any example of a product having inelastic demand? Essential products. Essential products. For example, milk. Right? For example, right, let's say price of proteins, prices of vegetables, price of petrol, right, price of salt. All these examples that I gave just now, these generally have a price elastic demand of less than 1. Can opposite also happen? Can vice versa happen? Of course, yes. If price will increase, right, change by 20%, what if the demand will fall from 500 units to let's say 300? Possible, of course, it's possible. So 500 was the original demand. Now it will come down to 300. How much is the change in terms of percentages? 40% is the change. Now, right, just substitute it. Price elasticity of a demand is equal to 40% divided by 20%. Cancel, 2 ones are 2 twos are. PD is equal to 2. Okay, PD is equal to 2. So whenever PD is greater than 1, PD is greater than 1, we'll simply call this as right products with elastic demand. Products with elastic demand. Right? And the example for this is luxurious products. Because please understand, lot of us, we will not reduce our consumption of essentials, but we will definitely reduce our consumption of luxuries by a larger percentage. For example, many of you are asking, sir, is tomato luxury product? No, tomato is still an essential product. Let me prove it to you. The price of the tomato, let's say hypothetically was, right, let's say 30 rupees. Price of the tomato, 30 rupees. And now the price of the tomato is how much? 120 rupees. Please tell me, from 30 rupees to 120 rupees, how much is the rise in the prices? 300%. Any difficulty? How much is the rise in the prices? 300%. How many of you are under the impression that the drop in the demand for tomato is more than 300%? Let me know. Is it possible? Please do let me know. For a product such as a tomato, do you think that the drop in the demand will be 300%? No. That the demand might fall down here and there by some amount, but the drop in the demand will never be by 300%. So that's the reason I keep on telling you, for essential commodities, essential means those that we consume on day-to-day basis, right? The PD will be less than 1. But for luxurious products, luxury products, PD is greater than 1. Done? Right? And just for sake of understanding, I've given you one more hypothetical example. You generally don't find a permanent example for unitary elastic product. Unitary elastic simply means if price will change by 1%, demand will also change by 1%. That's a basic idea of unitary elastic. Done? Can I go to the next one here? Can I go to the next one? Any problem with the calculation? Again, don't by heart the calculations here. Calculations UPSC is not going to ask you. Right? That's the reason I've given numbers here. Right? Some of you are still confused with the numbers. Use calculator, you'll get the numbers later. And again, don't carry calculator, etc. for GS paper 3. Right? Only for optional papers they will allow you calculators. Next one is income elasticity of a demand. Right? IED, income elasticity of a demand. Now, just now we have studied this. I'll directly apply it. For example, do you remember what is an inferior good? Let me know. Do you remember what is an inferior good? Inferior goods are those goods where income and demand will move in opposite direction. Yes or no? Inferior goods are those set of goods where income and demand are inversely related, move in opposite direction. That is, if income goes up, the demand will go down, and if the income will go down, demand will go up. Do you remember the relation? Now apply the same logic. Apply the same logic. Let's say I'll show you again calculation. It's not at all required, but I'll show it. Please have a look at this. Imagine your income is 100 rupees. Now your income will become 120 rupees. What is the percentage change? Plus 20%. But on the other hand, the demand for a particular good was, let's say, 5 units. 5 units. Or let's make it 10. So that calculation becomes easier. 10 units. Now, because your income has increased, you will purchase 11 units of the product. 11 units. So how much is the percentage change in the demand for product 1? Demand for product 1. 10% increase. And let's say there is another product. Earlier you used to purchase 10 units of this product. But because your income has increased, the demand for this product has fallen down to 8. Which means the demand in case of second product has come down by 20%. Any problem here? So let me use the first product, calculate what is income elasticity of a demand. For product 1, it will be change in the demand plus 10% divided by change in the income plus 20%. Right, that will be 0.5. Any difficulty? 0.5. 0.5, again positive 0.5. And if I want to calculate what is the income elasticity of a demand for product 2, it will be minus 20% divided by plus 20%. Cancel, cancel, 20, 20 cancel, minus 1. So first product IED is a positive. Second product IED is negative. Any difficulty here? Again, don't worry about calculation. UPSC will not ask you. Trust me on this. UPSC will not ask you calculation. But I've directly written it. Please have a look at it and tell me whether this makes sense to you or not. Whenever ID is less than 0, it represents inferior goods. When ID is greater than 0, it is nothing but a normal good. And as expected, some of you are saying, sir, greater than 0, less than 0, positive, negative, very confusing. My dear, please go back to your high school. Do you remember number line? Tell me. Do you remember the number line concept? And if I say to you, anything greater than 0, is it positive or not? Let me know now. Anything greater than 0, is it positive or not? Yes. ID greater than 0, normal goods. Right? That is, income and demand are moving in the same direction. And anything less than 0, right? That is basically negative. If income goes up, demand goes down. If income goes down, demand goes up. Right? Negative relation. That is inferior good. So income elasticity of a demand, if it is less than 0, if it is negative, then this is an inferior good. And if it is positive, it is a normal good. Right? These should not be very difficult, very confusing, because we already have established. In case of normal goods, there is a positive relation. In case of inferior goods, there is a negative relation. And based on that, you can come to a conclusion. Done? Can I go forward here? Second one is income elasticity of demand. And whatever calculations I'm doing, just for sake of making you understand I'm doing it, it has no importance whatsoever in the examination. Third one, cross elasticity of a demand. Now, based on what we have discussed in the previous one and earlier, let me know whether does it directly make sense to you or not. In case of complementary goods, in case of complementary goods, if the price of one good goes up, if the price of one good goes up, demand for a complementary good will go down. Can I directly say these are negatively related? Let me know. Can I directly say these are negatively related? And when basically you're saying negatively related, the outcome has to be less than 0. Any problem here? Anybody who says, sir, give me numbers. I feel CSAT should be discussed in the classroom. Give me numbers, please do let me know. And on the other side, what about substitutes? Price of tea goes up. What will happen to the demand for coffee? The demand for coffee will also go up. And both of them right here are positively related, which means the CD has to be greater than 0. That is positive. So whenever CD is greater than 0, right, directly say these are substitutes. Whenever CD is negative, that is less than 0, directly say these are complementary goods. Now, there are certain sections of the students who will try to use this and try to find out unnecessarily, making it much more complicated. Meaning what? Imagine tomorrow you open Hindu newspaper, you go to one page, in left corner of the page they've said price of tea has increased. This is one piece of news. And you look at the right side of the page, they have given one more article. The demand for shoe polish also has increased. Now look at the intelligence. Right? In one side of the article, they are saying price of tea has increased. And in another part of the in the page, they are saying demand for shoe polish has increased. Now you will take both of the information, put it in the data, and you'll simply say tea and shoe polish are substitutes. Is it correct? Think of it. Right? You are coming to a conclusion based on the data. Tea and shoe polish are substitutes. That is, if the price of the tea goes up, rather than drinking tea, you'll start eating shoe polish. No, this doesn't make any sense. Why? These are unrelated. These are two products, that is a shoe polish and tea, are unrelated. And by the virtue of being unrelated goods, you can simply say CD for unrelated goods is equal to 0. Simply write only one number. CD is equal to 0 for unrelated goods. Done? Any problem with this? And the fourth type of elasticity, supply side. Right? Price elasticity of supply. PES. Price elasticity of supply measures the change in the supply, that is how much percentage change in the price will lead to how much percentage change in the supply of a product. That is, if there is 1% change in the price, how much percentage change will take place in the supply of the commodity. That is a price elasticity of supply. And whenever price elasticity of supply, PS is less than 1, we'll simply say supply is inelastic. And whenever P is greater than 1, we'll simply say supply is elastic. Now, many of you will be asking me, what is the relevance of all of this? As expected, some of you are asking, what is the relevance of all of this? My dear, you tell me, the price of the tomato has increased. Do you think supply of tomato is elastic? Or prices of electric vehicles has increased? If you are reading newspapers, you will know this. Prices of electric vehicles has increased. Do you think the supply of electric vehicles is elastic in India? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. There is a relevance of whatever we are discussing in the current affairs, right? There is a huge relevance. Why? The law of supply says, understand this very carefully. Law of supply says, if price of the product goes up, supply should increase. Correct? Price goes up, supply should also go up. But what if the raw materials are not easily available? I hope you understand. Demand could be higher, price could be higher, but we are not able to meet the demand. We are not able to increase the supply. So don't you think until unless you are able to meet the demand, prices will remain elevated in the market? Does it make sense to you or not? If the prices of the commodity goes up, supply is very much elastic. Think of it. Supply is very much elastic. Can we reduce the prices much sooner? And on the other hand, prices of a particular commodity are very high. Supply is inelastic. Don't you think prices of these commodities will remain higher for a longer duration? Can you apply this in the current affairs? Can you apply these concepts when you're reading articles regarding electric vehicles? When you're reading articles regarding tomato prices? When you're reading articles regarding jeera prices? When you're reading articles regarding milk prices, etc. That is the importance of all of this. Done? Can I go forward now? Can I go forward? We have discussed 4 types of elasticities. One is price elasticity of a demand. Second one is income elasticity of a demand. Third one is a cross elasticity of a demand. Fourth one is price elasticity of supply. Right? PS. Now, what I'm saying is, let's say price goes up by 1%. Let's say price goes up by 1%. When the price goes up, if you're a manufacturer or a supplier of this product, will you increase your supply or not? Simple question. Should you increase the supply? Your answer should be yes. Sir, because the prices are higher, I will increase the supply. That is how the market will work. But what if I say you are an electric vehicle manufacturer, but the raw material that you require to manufacture electric vehicles, it is not easily available. For example, have you heard of lithium ion batteries? Let me know. Lithium ion battery is very, very important for electric vehicles. And very recently, all of this is there in the newspapers. The lithium ion batteries that is used in electric vehicles, we import them. And in the international market, this supply is very sensitive. You have a fight with China. China controls most of it. They will stop the supply. They will disrupt the supply. A pandemic will happen. Companies in China will be shut down. Disruption in the supply. So what I'm trying to say is, if the price goes up, supply, if it goes up very soon, very quickly. So if the prices goes up, supply also goes up. Don't you think when the supply will go up, prices will start coming down? Prices will start cooling down, right? That will happen only if the supply is elastic. On the contrary, I'm saying if the supply is inelastic, prices are increasing by 10%. Prices are increasing by 20% because the demand is very high. But the supply is not there. Supply is very slow in the market. Then do you think you'll be able to reduce the prices very quickly? No, prices will cool down or reduce over a longer duration. It will take a lot of time to reduce the prices. That is the importance of having a supply which is elastic and inelastic. Done? Right? So these are the 4 types of elasticities. If anybody has any kind of a doubt, please do let me know right now. Otherwise, I'll go to the next one. Whatever I've discussed so far is basically the concepts in microeconomics. Any doubts? Any doubts? Can we go forward? Some of you are worried about the break. Don't worry about the break. Listen to the lecture. Okay. Do we have any exception to law of supply? My dear, we have discussed the list that I've given. Some of them are for law of demand. Some of them are for law of supply. Okay. For example, I gave you, take the example of tomato itself. I give you that example. If prices are lower, higher, doesn't matter. The shelf life of the product is very small. You'll have to supply it in the market. Okay. Okay, done. Exact meaning of elasticity with respect to good. My dear, that's what I'm saying. Exact meaning is if prices are going to change, income is going to change, etc., how much will be the change in demand? We are trying to measure that change. That is elasticity. Okay. Next concept that I want to cover, last concept by the way. After this, we'll take up questions. Don't worry. After this, I'll show you the kind of questions which have been asked by UPSC from this chapter. Savings, investment, and capital formation. First and foremost, understand the logic here. I'll discuss certain concepts. Understand this carefully. Imagine your salary is 100 rupees. Your salary is 100 rupees. Now, if you're working for a company should give you 100 rupees on the first of every month. Now, don't you think part of this salary, I repeat, part of this salary will be taken up by the government in the form of taxation? Yes or no? If your income is 100 rupees, part of this salary will be taken up by the government in the form of taxation. So, part of your income is taken by the government in the form of taxation. Whatever is left out, after this, whatever is left out, this is called as disposable income. This is referred to as disposable income. What do you mean by disposable income? The money that is there in your hands. And again, do not literally imagine in your hands, right? Because many of you who are working for a company, the salary is credited directly into a bank account, right? So the money that is there in your hands, which you can spend in the market. Your salary is actually 100, but government, let's say, will take away 10 rupees in the form of taxation. So the disposable income will become how much? 90 rupees. Any problem here? The disposable income means how much money you can spend to purchase goods, to purchase services in the market is 90 rupees. That's point number one. Point number two, please tell me now, can government adjust the taxation and change the disposable income? Think of it and answer. Can the government change the taxes and adjust the disposable income? Answer is simply yes. This is important. Remember this. How? What if government wants you to purchase more and more goods and services in the market? Can they do this way? Rather than taking away 10 rupees from you, they will take only 2 rupees from you. As a result of this, what will happen to disposable income? Don't you think disposable income will increase to 98? And when the disposable income will increase to 98 rupees, you'll purchase more and more goods and services in the market. Yes or no? On the other side, through taxation, can government reduce how much money you will spend in the market? Can they do that also? Vice versa? Of course, yes. Rather than 10 rupees, what if government will collect 20 rupees from you? Rather than 10 rupees, they will collect 20 rupees. What will happen to disposable income? 80 rupees. So remember this point. If government of India wants you to purchase more, they can do it. Multiple methods are there. One of the methods is reduce taxation. If government feels you're spending more money in the market, government wants to collect more money, then one of the methods is increase the tax, automatically the demand will come down, and on the other hand, government will be collecting more taxation. This is point number one. Point number one. Point number two. Now imagine you have 90 rupees. I'll go to the second point now. Imagine you have 90 rupees. Now what you will do? Out of 90 rupees, let's say you will use a 40 rupees for purchasing goods and services in the market. Whatever goods and services, you will use 50 rupees. Can I say remaining 40 rupees is a savings? Any problem? Remaining 40 rupees is your savings. Now, there are two options available to you. That 40 rupees, either you can keep it in the bank or you can keep it with yourself. Simple logic. That 40 rupees, either you can take that 40, put it in the bank. That is one option. Second option is you will keep it in the form of cash with yourself. But tell me, if you keep 40 rupees with yourself, do you think the Indian economy will get the benefit of it? Let me know. I'm talking about 40 rupees in cash with you. You keep 40 rupees in your pocket and keep on roaming around. Or take 40 rupees, put it in the hundi, or take 40 rupees, right? Hide it somewhere in the bureau, cupboard, etc., or in economics books and forget it. Do you think Indian economy is going to get any benefit out of it? Absolutely no. But on the other hand, what if you take that 40 rupees, put it in the bank? This is where the magic will start now. Take that 40 rupees, put it in the bank, either in the savings bank account or in the fixed deposit or in the recurring deposit. Don't worry. But 40 rupees has entered into financial institution. Now what the bank will do? Bank will take this 40 rupees and give it as a loan to a company. Done? Give it as a loan to a company. Let's say I'm a businessman, you are the bank manager, you will give me the loan of 40 rupees. Now, what I will do as a company, I'll take a loan of 40 rupees. I will purchase a machine. I will purchase raw materials, etc. And what I will do is, I will start producing goods and services in the market. I will start producing goods and services in the market. Now, because I'm producing goods and services, on one side, the supply of goods and services in the market will increase. And on the other side, the employment in the economy will also increase. Yes or no? Because I want to produce goods and services. If I want to produce goods and services, I will hire more people. The employment will also automatically increase. Now, you tell me, if people are getting jobs, they're earning salary, automatically the demand for the goods and services, it will increase or not? The demand for goods and services will also increase. So look at the equation now. Please look at the sequences. You will save 40 rupees. Rather than keeping it with yourself, rather than investing in land, rather than putting it in the gold, etc., you will take that 40 rupees, put it in the bank. Now the bank will simply take it, give it as a loan to me. I will purchase raw materials. I will purchase a capital machinery, etc. I will produce more goods and services, supply more to the market. And on the other side, I will also create jobs. The people in the economy are getting jobs, they are earning more salary. And because they are earning more salary, they will also use a part of it to purchase goods and services. Demand will increase. So demand is increasing, supply is increasing, right? Investment in the economy is increasing, etc., etc., etc. Now, please tell me, don't you think rather than keeping that 40 rupees with yourself or purchasing gold for that matter, because gold is imported? I hope you understand. Some of you will simply say, sir, why are you putting gold on the other side? We import gold. We don't manufacture gold in India. We import gold, right? So rather than keeping it in the form of cash, gold, or even investing in land, if you put it in a bank, you give it as a loan to a company, right? That is, you can invest in the stock market, you can invest in the bonds, etc. There are benefits. What is the benefit here? This whole process is called as capital formation. This will lead to what? Capital formation. And if you ask me, sir, what is the meaning of the term capital formation? Please go back earlier. Do you remember the term capital? Let me know. Do you remember the term capital? Yes or no? What is the meaning of the term capital that we have discussed earlier? And if you ask me, sir, where have you discussed? Please don't lie. I will point out we have discussed 4 factors of production. And one of the factors of production was basically capital. And the term capital, I told you, what does the term capital represent? anything that we are producing represents capital. Yes or no? Anything that we are producing and we are using that for further production, that is called as capital. I gave you example of manufacturing facility, machineries, etc. So that is nothing but capital. So don't you think if your savings will be moved like this in the market, if the sequence is followed like this, there will be higher capital formation in the economy. Statement 1, please do let me know whether you are able to understand, whether you are able to grasp the concept or not. I'm saying if you make savings and invest like this in the market, is it going to lead to higher capital formation? Answer is yes, by the way. The picture is right there in front of you. Point number 2, if there is a very high capital formation means what? More and more machines will be produced, more and more goods will be produced, raw material will be produced, etc. Whatever we are producing, which we are using for further production, that will keep on increasing over a period of time. So capital formation increases. Higher is the capital formation, can I say it is good for any economy? Second question, by the way, higher will be the capital formation, it is always good for the economy, yes or no? Look at the picture and let me know. But please understand the next point here. Please understand the next point. If you want all of this to happen, some of the things have to happen in the economy. For example, 1, people will have to save money. All of you will agree? People will have to, first point, save the money. And point number 2, whatever money you have saved, there should be very good credible financial institutions where you can keep the money. That's very important. There should be credible financial institutions. For example, what do I mean by this? Imagine one after the other, banks will start closing in India. One after the other. Again, imagine. You tell me, if you have a saving of, let's say, 40 rupees, as in this example, will you keep this in the bank now? When your confidence in the banking sector is so low, when the banks are closing one after the other, will you keep that money with the bank? Will you keep it anywhere? If the banks are not safe enough, where will you keep? You will keep with yourself. You'll start investing in gold. You'll start investing in the land, etc. That is not going to create capital formation. So 1, people will have to save money. Second, there should be very good credible financial institutions which can collect that money. And third one, the companies should also be able to borrow money from the banking sector. They should also be in a position, right, to borrow money and invest. Why? I'll tell you. Couple of years ago, all of you remember the term pandemic? The whole world, global economy went through pandemic. Now, please tell me, if you are a manufacturer, during pandemic, will you borrow more from the banking sector or you will cut your production? Let me know. During pandemic, if you are a manufacturer of a product, any product, of course, not the sanitizer, etc., right? You are a manufacturer of, let's say, a remote control. You're manufacturer of a car. You're manufacturer of a two-wheeler. Will you borrow more from the market to produce more, or you will reduce your production? You will reduce the production. You will cut the production. Some of you are saying you will borrow more. No, my dear. Look at the situation. I'm saying pandemic. Situation is pandemic. During pandemic, you will not borrow more. Why? Lockdown was imposed. People were not allowed to go outside their homes to purchase cars. They were not allowed to go and purchase, let's say, ACs, etc. Demand automatically went down. And when the demand went down, what will happen to the manufacturing? Will they produce more? Of course, no. The manufacturer always runs behind the demand. So they will look at the demand and say, cut the production as well. So don't you think even the company should be willing to invest in the market? And that depends on how much is the demand in the market. So all of them are interconnected. All of them are interconnected, because ultimately what we have decided, there should be demand so that companies will invest. But tell me, don't you think the demand will be available in the market if companies will produce jobs. And how will the companies produce jobs? If there's a demand in the market. So every point is connected with each other. And further we'll discuss this. We'll discuss this further. Don't worry about it. Any problem so far with what I've discussed? Let me know. Any problem with anything that I've discussed under the concept so far? Now look at the definitions one after the other. Out of the total earnings made, the economy uses part of it for immediate consumption, that we call it as expenditure, and the rest is used for future consumption, that is savings. Now some of you will simply say, what do you mean by future consumption? If I were to ask you, why are you saving 40 rupees? What is the use of 40 rupees? Your answer will be, sir, in future I want to purchase a home. In future I want to purchase a car. So for future consumption, I'm saving money right now. Done? So whatever is your disposable income, part of it will be used for immediate consumption, and remaining it is for your future consumption, which is called as savings. Now have a look at this. Savings is that part of the income that will be used for acquiring capital goods. Right? I'm talking about investment now. Whenever you come across the term investment, what does it mean? In the economy, certain amount is saved. That part of the savings that we will use to acquire capital goods, that is called as investment. For example, let me give a simple example, then I'll ask you, right? Let me know. Automatically, I'll also understand whether you're able to follow the concept or not. Let's start. Your disposable income is 90. For immediate consumption, you'll use up 50 rupees. Out of remaining 40 rupees, 10 rupees you will keep with yourself. Remaining 30 rupees, you'll put it in the bank. And the bank will give loan to a company. Company will purchase a machinery, or they will purchase, let's say, raw materials. Now, in this example, please tell me how much is investment. Let me know. In this example, please tell me how much is investment. 30 rupees. All of you are able to answer this? Anybody who says, sir, 40 rupees is the investment? Absolutely no. Why? No, though you have saved 40 rupees, only part of your savings has been utilized for acquiring capital goods in the market. That's the reason I'll simply say 30 rupees is your investment. Now, is the definition clear to all of you? Investment is a part of the savings that will be used for acquiring capital goods in the market. Investment in the economy are either done by through the domestic sources, or you can also attract the foreign market. For example, I'll give you the name of the company. You tell me whether this is an Indian company or a foreign company. Air Asia. Have you heard of this company's name? Air Asia. It is a civil aviation company. Accenture, Citibank, American Express, Amex, etc. So whatever names I've written here, none of them are Indian companies. They are foreign companies. But what if these foreign companies will come to India, invest in the Indian market? Can I count it also as a part of total investment done in India? Let me know. Right? This is the investment that is coming from domestic source. But what if this company also takes a loan from a foreign bank? Possible or not? It will take a loan from foreign bank. Or else, there is one more company, which is a foreign company. It will come into India, bring its own money, purchase machinery, and set up a manufacturing facility in India. Is it not investment in India? Of course, yes. So remember the next point here. Whenever you talk about total investment, that investment can be from the domestic sources, and the investment can be from the foreign sources as well. Right? So investment can come from either India as well as from outside India. That is basically the point number 3. And finally, have a look at this. Capital simply refers to anything that has been produced by humans, which will use for further production. For example, machineries, manufacturing facilities, right? Let's say intermediary goods, raw materials, etc., etc. All of that is basically refers to as a capital. And from 1 year to the next year, from 1 year to next year, more and more capital gets added to the economy. And the process of adding capital over a period of time, the process is called as capital formation. Is it okay? Even if you're confused, even now, let me start with a very simple example. Imagine you start a company. Today you start a company. You have two machines worth, let's say, 1 crore rupees. Next year, you'll purchase one more machine worth, let's say, 60 lakh rupees. Can I simply say in 1 year, capital formation is 60 lakh rupees? Let me know. I'll repeat the process here again. I'm taking a very simple example. Right? You start a company today and you purchase two machines worth 1 crore rupees. And in the next 1 year, in addition to whatever capital you have, you'll purchase one more machine and you'll spend 60 lakh rupees. Can I simply say in 1 year, capital formation is a 60 lakh rupees? Anybody has a doubt here? Can I go forward? So from 1 year to the next year, we'll keep on calculating capital formation. Now you tell me, higher capital formation, is it good or bad for the country? Let me know. If you have a very high capital formation, is it good or not? Right? It's always good. You should have a very, very higher amount of a capital formation. But how much? How much? There's a formula here. I will introduce one more concept to you. That is, have a look at this. Investments, total amount of investment divided by GDP. Now, many of you will start asking me, sir, what do you mean by GDP? Let me explain it. Let me give you a basic idea, and after some time, after the break, we'll take up what is the idea of a GDP in detail. Don't worry. GDP simply means gross domestic product. I'll come back to this slide. Please don't worry and have a look at this. GDP simply refers to the gross domestic product. GDP refers to gross domestic product. And what is the idea of a gross domestic product? It is the market price of all the final goods and services which are produced in a country. Any difficulty in the definition of GDP? Please do let me know right now. GDP is gross domestic product and it refers to all the final goods and services which are produced in a country for a specific time period. That is called as gross domestic product. Done? So whenever you talk about the capital formation, the rate of capital formation is very simple here. The rate of capital formation is nothing but the total amount of investments divided by gross domestic product into 100. Now the importance of into 100 is nothing but you will get the outcome in terms of percentages. And whenever whenever the rate of capital formation is more than 40%, more than 45%, and generally more than 35%, it is considered to be good. But in case of India, the rate of capital formation earlier was around 35%. It has fallen down. It is somewhere around 30%. It is somewhere around 30% right now. Done. So these are certain very important concepts regarding the concept of savings, investment, as well as capital formation. Anybody has a doubt within all the three, any one of them or any one of the points here, please do let me know. So otherwise, I'll go forward to the next slide. What is the importance of capital formation? Let me explain it to you. What is the importance? First one, it will help in increasing production. Right? It's a straightforward point. If capital formation is higher, it will increase the productivity as well as production in the economy. Second, it is associated with higher labor efficiency. For example, if you have a better technology, if you have a much advanced machine, can you produce more goods within the same time period? Does it make sense to you? If you have a machine with a better technology, latest technology, you will work same 8 hours, But will you be able to produce more and more goods? Of course, yes. It is associated with labor efficiency. The capital formation is always associated with progress in technology. It can help us in better utilization of natural resources. And finally, it is associated with higher supply of goods and services, employment generation, higher demand for goods and services. These are certain right important points why we should have a higher capital formation in the economy. Can I go forward? Any problem? Most of you have gone dormant now. Most of you have gone dormant. Right? You're like, sir, I want to sleep. Leave me now. Please listen to the lecture very carefully. Last concept within this. After this, done. Chapter is over. Pakka, promise. After this chapter is over, we'll look at the questions. What is the last concept? Now, whenever you talk about capital formation, right? Whenever you talk about capital formation, there's a term called as gross capital formation. And you'll start asking me, sir, what do you mean by gross? Gross means total, aggregate. Is it okay? Gross means total or aggregate. Gross capital formation, GSF. Capital, again go back. Capital simply means anything that has been produced by us, which will be further used for production. Now I will divide this capital into two types. One is called as a stock. Second one is called as a gross fixed capital formation. Do not worry about the long forms. The long form of GCF as well as GFCF, it is given in the right side. Please have a look at it. So I'll repeat it again. Whenever you talk about total capital formation or a gross capital formation, you can divide this capital formation into two parts. Again, the idea of capital is simple. Anything that is produced by us, which will be used for further production. Now, what is the basic idea? I will divide that into two parts. First one, the most important one, is called as a gross fixed capital formation. And the second one is called as a stock. Now, many of you will ask me, sir, on what basis are we dividing it? Simple logic. I'll give you an example. Please tell me. As a company, imagine you're manufacturing, let's say, this remote control. You're manufacturing this remote control. Please tell me, if you're manufacturing this remote control, the money that you spend on raw materials, will it be on weekly basis or not? Will you purchase plastic once in 5 years? Will you purchase the raw material once in 5 years? Will you purchase intermediary goods once in 5 years? Anybody is there? Please do let me know. Can I simply say that from one company to another company, the time period might vary, but pretty sure the intermediary good that you require, raw material that you require to manufacture this remote control, you'll be spending money on weekly basis or 15 days once you will purchase, or monthly basis you will keep on purchasing the raw material. Any problem here? But on the other hand, I'll give you one more example. Imagine you purchased a machine. You purchase the machine which is manufacturing the remote control. You tell me now, will you keep on investing in this machine once every 15 days? Will you keep on investing in this machine once every 1 month? No. You'll purchase this machine, you will use the machine for 10 years. You might use the machine for 15 years. And after 10 years is over, you will replace this machine with a new machine. Yes or no? I have given you two examples. Please tell me whether this makes sense to you or not. On one side, you're spending the money to get that capital. You're spending the money very frequently. Very frequently you're spending money. But on the other side, after a long time period, right? Maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 8 years, you're spending money. That is the difference. So on one side of the capital, you will spend the money very frequently, or maybe on day-to-day basis as well. But on the other side, you spend the money periodically, not frequently, periodically, once every 5 years, once every 8 years, once every 10 years. That is the difference between two types of capital, gross fixed capital formation and the other side is stock. Example of gross fixed capital formation is a construction of a road, right? Let's say manufacturing facility, you'll purchase a machineries, etc. But on the other side, stocks, on what you spend very, very frequently, raw material, intermediary goods, etc., etc. Right? That is basically the division of gross capital formation. Can I go to the next one? Any problem here? Please do let me know. This is the end of the chapter, by the way. This is the end of the chapter for you people. If there is any issue, please do let me know. Otherwise, we'll take up questions. Now you will understand what kind of questions appear in the civil services on these concepts, right, which we have discussed so far. Done? If you have any questions, please do let me know. I have activated the live call feature.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I had two doubts. First one, from the given goods, you said that the price when it increases, they buy it more.
Hmm.
But sir, why do they have to buy it more? They can buy the same quantity and remaining money they can keep buying the other goods they used to buy. For example, dal.
Okay. Let's say I go very simple example again. Don't worry about the numbers here, just to make you understand. Let's say the price of rather than price, as a family of 5 people, on one day you're consuming 500 grams of rice and let's say 100 grams of dal, which means totally you're consuming 600 grams. Total consumption is
Hmm.
600 grams. Now when the price of rice goes up, will you be able to purchase the same quantity? If you don't change anything, will you be able to purchase the same quantity within the limited amount of money that you have? Not possible.
No.
So what you will do is you will reduce the consumption of dal to let's say 50 grams. But you require 600 grams to remain alive, to sustain the day-to-day activities. You will require 600 grams. So what has happened? The dal consumption has gone down. So you will increase the consumption of rice. This is precisely why, again, it is generally measured in terms of calorific norms, etc., etc. But all of that is not required. Simple logical understanding is you cannot substitute the product, and the other product is very costly. You cannot continue to consume that also. So what you will do is whatever is costly you will reduce, whatever price has increased but this is an inferior good, you'll continue to consume more. That's a basic idea. Okay.
Okay. And second one, sir, Veblen goods, since they are luxury goods, the price seems to be artificially raised. For example, diamonds, they don't seem to have any inherent value, like in production or anything.
Yes. Yeah. It may be or it might not be, because please understand, one of the reason there is a term called as snob appeal, they'll say, or snob effect. What is this idea of a snob, which is always associated with the Veblen goods? Rich people will purchase these products because these cannot be purchased by the poor man. I hope you understand my argument. They will purchase
Yeah.
precisely this product because they know that everybody in India cannot purchase it. They are not going behind it because this is more qualitative, not necessarily. For example, if you talk about a luxury car, it will give much lesser mileage compared to let's say Tata Nano or maybe let's say Alto cars. But are they worried about mileage of a car? Absolutely no. They're not worried about it. They want to use this as a status symbol. That is a precise reason they will focus on the appeal rather than the utility of it. Okay, done.
Yes, sir. And the last one, say, since we have right to education, so education will come in common good or public good?
No, education, please understand. I cannot directly say education will be a public, etc., etc. It depends on the context. If you go to a private school, there also a certain amount of fees, if they ask you to pay, it becomes excludable. But on the other side, if
Okay.
education is given free of a cost, absolutely free of a cost to you, it becomes a pure public good. That's the reason every time I keep on telling you this. Do not take up one product and try to define it somewhere. Based on the context to define where does it fall.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, good evening,
Hello.
sir. Sir, yeah,
Good evening.
since
Tell
I'm
me.
an engineering student, the class what and all you are
Huh.
explaining from the beginning today, it's like
Hmm.
very understood to me. I don't have any doubts as of now. My
Hmm.
query is with regard to, since I told you I'm an engineering student, I'm working professional. Uh,
Hmm.
should For me, I feels like your classes are sufficient to me. I felt you want me to
Hmm.
refer any NCRT books, sir.
If you do not have any background in the economics,
Okay, sir.
I would recommend that you read
Okay,
NCERT
okay,
books.
sir. That's what that was my query. Yeah, sir. Uh, yes, sir.
Done?
Thank you. And thanks,
Okay, thank
thanks a
you.
lot, sir. Even though it feels like even I'm an engineering background student, your class is making me very understood. But I can catch you so
Thanks a
much.
lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
then demand decrease or increase?
Hello? Hello.
Hello,
Shiva,
hello.
good evening.
Sir, if Veblen goods, the price will decrease, then demand will decrease.
Yes,
Okay, okay,
yes.
sir.
In the same direction. Please remember that. Right? As opposed to the law of demand, where price and demand will move in opposite direction. In
Yes,
both Veblen as well as Giffen goods, they will move in same direction. Remember the term same direction or positively related.
okay,
That's more relevant for UPSC examination. Okay?
okay, sir. Thank you.
Done.
Hello.
Hello?
Good evening.
Sachin.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening. Please tell me.
Sir, from the beginning of class, I was asking a question when we are
Hmm.
discussing the concept of capitalism, socialism, and mixed economy.
Hmm.
Sir, I was asking that recently we have seen instead of maintaining the loopholes that is present in public sector utilities,
Hmm.
government prefer to do it privatization or something like that one.
Hmm.
So, is this good, or we can say this is the one of the drawback of mixed economy?
No, I answered this question earlier also. I said to understand clearly whether this idea of a privatization that is being done by the government, whether this is good or bad, first we need to understand the idea of a disinvestment.
Okay.
Without making the other students understand what is the idea of a disinvestment, I cannot simply say whether this is good or bad because there is a latest disinvestment policy.
Yes.
We
Yes.
need to understand why are they doing it. So that's the reason. Again, I'm answering it. We will take it up. Don't worry. Again, you can call me up when I take up the disinvestment policy, when I take up it under the industrial policies. I'll answer to this question whether this is good or bad. You cannot simply take a call based on what they have done. You'll have to look at the background to that. So we'll look at the background. Why are they doing it? What is their argument, etc. If they do it, what is the advantage? What is the disadvantage? I'll give you a detailed explanation regarding that. Then we will take a call whether this is good or bad.
And sir, second one
Huh.
that you have told us to read a business newspaper
Huh.
because I am a working aspirant.
Huh.
So giving time for an extra newspaper is, I think, not viable.
Hmm.
So what should be the alternative?
In that case, what I would recommend is, please attend the webinars.
Okay,
Every
sir.
week there are two webinars, one for only prelims based on current affairs, one for mains. In
Okay, sir.
addition to that, let's say the monthly magazine, we anyways publish monthly magazine. I would
Yes, sir.
recommend please read the magazine very carefully.
Okay, so this too will be viable, I think.
Yeah, viable, sufficient. I will not simply say that everything will come from there only, because you know what is the tendency of UPSC,
Yeah, yes,
right?
yeah.
So, but at least let's say, even in the beginning of the class, I was very clear. If UPSC will ask you 15 questions, you simply don't go with the target of answering all the 15 correctly, because you cannot prepare such a wide subject of Indian economy,
Yeah, so the
right?
same
So
concept of time investment ratio, I think not viable for that one.
yeah, yeah. So at least with the current affairs, you will be able to attempt clearly around 9 to 10 questions, or let's say around 70% of the questions at least.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, done. Take care. Bye. Okay, so let's take up questions then. Let's take up questions. Let's solve the questions. Okay, some of you have already started with. Okay, so start. Okay, it's already there. May if you've answered. Let's start. Rather than starting a poll, let's start solving here only. Consider the following statements. Other things remaining unchanged, market demand for a good might increase if. Right? So this is how UPSC will ask the question. Let's start. Again, some of you are saying, sir, the pattern has changed. I'll tell you, can we make it much more difficult? Rather than giving this pattern, can I make it much more difficult? Of course, yes. This is the latest pattern. This is the latest pattern. Okay. Only one, two of the above are correct. Three of the above are correct. All the four of above are correct. Right? Comparatively, compared to this kind of a pattern is much more difficult. Very, very difficult, in fact. Why? I'll tell you. Basically, argument is here, many of the times you can use elimination method. You can simply say, right, one statement is correct. So if this option is correct, that statement has to be there in the option, etc. But in this pattern, which is the latest entrance, right? Last year they tried in some of them, but now, if this year, if you've seen the paper, most of the questions were given in this pattern. Definitely, I will agree with you. This pattern or the new pattern is much more difficult, which means conceptually you'll have to be very strong. I hope you understand. Conceptually, you'll have to be very, very strong. Let's start. Consider the following statements. Other things remaining unchanged, market demand for a good might increase if price of the substitute increases. Yes or no? Right? Tea and coffee. If tea's price will increase, what will happen to the demand for coffee? Increases. First one is correct. We have discussed, applied. Price of its complement increases. Printer and ink. Right? Price of its complement increases. If price of the printer increases, what will happen to demand for ink? It will fall down. So second one is wrong. The good is an inferior good and income of the consumer increases. Inferior good. If income goes up, demand for the inferior good will go down. So 3 is wrong. The price of the product will fall. If the price of the product will fall, the quantity demanded automatically will increase. So fourth one is correct. So as per this question and whatever questions I discussed, these are from question papers itself. So as per this question, the right option will be option A. But if they want to make it much more difficult, right, the kind of option they will give you is this. Right, only two of the above are correct. Done. Right, so this is one question. Let's start. Okay, 62% have answered correctly. Let's solve it. Which of the following can add to aggregate demand? What do you mean by aggregate? Total. Aggregate is nothing but total. Okay. Lowering of income tax rates. Anybody has a problem with statement 1? Please do let me know. Lowering of income tax rates. If the government will lower income tax rates, will the demand increase in the market? Answer is yes, by the way. If you ask me, sir, how? You have not discussed this, etc., etc. Some time ago, we discussed the idea of a disposable income. I said, if the government wants you to purchase more, they can reduce the taxation. Automatically, disposable income increases, demand will increase. So, first statement is correct. Increase in the cost of raw materials. Increase in the cost of raw materials? No. Why? If the cost of raw material, let's say you want to manufacture this remote control and sell it in the market, cost of plastic increases, automatically the market price should also increase. Yes or no? Market price also should increase. And if the market price increases, the demand automatically will go down. So second one is wrong. Third one is increase in the VAT. Now many of you will be confused with this term VAT. VAT is a tax. Presently we have GST. All of you have seen at least the term GST. In newspaper in the last 1 month, GST has appeared every day. Have you come across the term GST? And I'm pretty sure you have paid GST also, right? You cannot simply say, sir, I've never paid GST. In that case, it also means you have not even purchased a soap in the market. You have not even purchased a coconut water, let's say a milk packet in the market. So our argument is simple. Right now we have GST, but earlier instead of GST, there was no GST before 2017. There was, 2016. There was one more concept called as a value addition tax. Don't worry about this today. When I take up taxation, we'll look at what you mean by value added taxation in detail. Please don't worry. Right? So increase in the VAT. For example, imagine you want to sell it in the market. Right now, the VAT is 10 rupee, which means your market price will be how much? 110. If the government will increase the VAT to 18 rupees, now your market price will become how much? 118 rupees. If the market price goes up, what will happen to the demand? Demand should go down. Any problem in understanding this? If the market price goes up, demand should automatically go down. So third one doesn't add to the demand, it reduces the demand. So first one is correct. Right option will be option A. Again, if they want to make it complicated, they will give you the new right options. That is, only one of them is correct, two of them are correct, three of them are correct, none of them are correct. Right? That will be much more complicated. Okay. Next question. Okay. Arey, why 31% have answered correctly? Expansion or contraction of demand is because of, if you have listened to the lecture very carefully, I used the term expansion and contraction. And I said, whenever there is a movement along the curve, do you remember this? Whenever there is a movement along the curve, we use the term expansion and contraction. And whenever there's a movement along the curve, what is the factor? Why is there a movement along the curve? Is the income of the consumer changing? That is going to lead to a movement along the curve? Let me know. If your taste and preference changes, will that lead to movement along the curve? No. Whenever price of the commodity changes. If the price of the commodity changes, that will lead to a movement along the curve. If anything else changes, that will lead to shift of the curve. You people are forgetting. That will lead to shift of the curve. Now the question is on expansion and contraction. And expansion contraction is applicable only when the price changes. So first one is correct, a change in the price of the good. So right option here will be option A, only one is correct. Any difficulty in this? Can I go to the next one? Right, can I go to the next one? Any difficulty in any questions that we are discussing, please do let me know so that we can go back, solve it, then go forward. Okay, take up the next one. Okay, 70% have answered, but what about remaining 30%? Why? What is the difficulty? Income effect. Income effect on the demand for inferior goods will be. Please understand, with the change in the income, what is the impact on the demand for inferior goods? Income effect means with the change in the income. If the income changes, what is the impact of that on inferior goods? Do you remember this? If the income changes, that is, let's say income and demand changes in the same direction, we call this as a positive relation. And this will happen in what kind of goods? Normal goods. Yes or no? This will happen only in case of normal goods. What about inferior goods? In inferior goods, if income goes up, demand will go down. If income will go down, demand will go up. And this relation, is it positive? No, this is a negative relation. So what is the impact of changing income on the demand for inferior goods? It is a negative. It is a negative impact. Any difficulty here? Any difficulty in understanding this? It is a negative impact. Straightforward, option B is the right one here. Okay. It's a straight one. Let's solve it. Straight one. Which of the following statement or statements, it should be only statement, is correct regarding public goods? Public goods. What are the features of public goods? Remember the features of public goods. The features of public goods are that these are non-arrival. These are non-arrival and these are non-excludable. These are non-rival as well as non-excludable. So the right option will be option C. These are neither excludable nor rivalrous. Done? Any difficulty in this? Any difficulty? Please do let me know. Right option is option C. Can we go forward? Anybody has any difficulty in other questions? Right? Whatever we have discussed so far, that also you can raise so that again you are very clear. Only then we'll go forward. Okay. Now, one descriptive question I've given you. One descriptive question which was asked a couple of years ago from this chapter. 3y2 not which question? When you ask me 3 Pooja, what is the question that you're asking? I'm not able to understand. Please clarify. First question, third option, explain. What is the third option? The good is an inferior good and the income of the consumer increases. My dear, the question is the demand for the good should increase. Please look at the question. Statement says demand for the good should increase. And here says the good is an inferior good and the income of the consumer increases. Just now we have discussed inferior goods. What is the connection in case of inferior goods? If the income if the income goes up, what will happen to the demand for inferior good? The demand for the inferior good will go down. right? It's a straightforward statement. If the income of the consumer goes up, demand should go down. That is basically an inferior good, right? That is wrong because question says rise in the demand. Okay. The aggregate demand question, can you explain what is there in case of aggregate demand? Total demand should increase because of what? Income tax rates will go down. If the income tax rate will go down, your disposable income will increase. And if your disposable income increases, what will happen to the demand in the market? Demand in the market automatically will go up. Increase in the cost of raw material. If the raw material cost will increase, automatically the market prices should also increase because you're purchasing raw material, which is an input, at a higher cost. So if the market price goes up, demand should go down. And if the tax imposed by the government increases, market price will increase, so the demand should go down. So 2 and 3 are wrong, only A is correct. Okay. Public good. Which of the following statements is correct regarding public good? Straightforward. Which of the following statements is correct? Public goods are non-rival, non-excludable. These are the two features. We have discussed two features of a public good and a private good. In private good, these are rivalry. There is a rivalry of a feature, rivalry feature of a product, and private goods are excludable in nature. But when you talk about public goods, right, these are non-rival as well as non-excludable. That's the option C. Public goods are excludable. Wrong. Public goods are non-excludable but rivalrous. Wrong. Public goods are both excludable and rivalrous. Wrong. Public goods are neither excludable nor rivalrous. That is the right option. Okay. Now please look at the descriptive question. Capitalism has guided the world economy to unprecedented prosperity. However, it often encourages short sightedness and contributes to wide disparities between rich and the poor. In this light, would it be correct to believe and adopt capitalism for bringing inclusive growth in India? Discuss. Right, so we have discussed the features. Now the question is simple. Can we adopt capitalism in India? Right, there are two parts to the question. And please remember, whenever you are writing mains answer, 3 points, three important components. First has to be introduction, second has to be the main body, third one has to be conclusion or way forward. And whenever you write a conclusion, please do not write a negative conclusion. This is my advice to you. Never write a negative way forward, a negative conclusion. Now you'll ask me, sir, what do you mean by negative conclusion? Let's say there is a question on GST. Recently, we have completed 6 years of GST. Okay, and if you don't know what is GST, don't worry. When I take up taxation, I will have a detailed discussion about GST. So if the question is, there are certain problems in the GST, give recommendations. After 6 years, there are certain problems, give recommendations. Your recommendation should not be to withdraw GST. I hope you understand my point now. You should not recommend, because there are so many problems in the GST, withdraw GST only. That will create a much more chaotic system in the Indian economy. You'll have to give what should be done. There are certain problems. How should we address those problems? That should be the way forward. So introduction, keep it very short, keep it to the point. Do not waste your words. Because generally, if you have seen the question paper, there are two types of questions. The first 10 questions will be for 150 words. Yes or no? The first 10 questions are for 150 words, and the next 10 questions are for 250 words. That is basically the first 10 will be a 10 marker, and the next 10 will be 15 markers. Now apply the seaside concept. 10 into 10, 100. 10 into 50, 150. Total number of marks, maximum number of marks for this paper, GS paper 3, or for that matter, any GS paper, will be 250 marks. So be very careful. Do not waste your words. Do not write a very lengthy introduction. Don't waste 175 words in the introduction itself. So keep it very short. Most number of words should fall in the main body. right? If you ask me, this is my advice to you. If 250 worded question is there, right, maybe around 30 words in the introduction, another 150 words in the main body, 30 plus 150 is right, let's say 180, and another 70 in the conclusion if there is a recommendation that you're supposed to provide. Please have a breakup like this. Now, what should be the approach to this kind of a question? Introduction, write the definition of capitalism. Simply write the definition of capitalism. Capitalism is a type of a economy recommended or put forth by Adam Smith. Under capitalism, the role of the government is very minimal and the functions are done by private sector. That's it. That is your introduction. Come to the main body. In the main body, please write about advantages, merits of capitalism. What are the advantages? Why do we say that we should adopt capitalism? Because have a look at this. Capitalism has guided the world economy to unprecedented prosperity. I've told you, if you remember this, I told you in capitalism, private sector competition is very high, employment generation is very high, production is also very high, investment in research and development is very high. If you're going to achieve all of this, will it not increase the GDP number of India? Think of this and answer to my question. Okay, I'm saying if we adopt capitalism, investment will increase, capital formation will increase, right? The private sector competition will increase, research and development investment will increase, employment generation will happen. Will it not lead to higher GDP? What is higher GDP? Higher market price of final goods and services. It will lead to higher GDP. That is the reason it says it can promote unprecedented prosperity. Growth can be achieved. But having said so, are there no disadvantages? Are there no demerits to the model of capitalism? Of course, they are. Write about disadvantages. Write about demerits. Income inequality will increase. Wealth inequality will increase. Harmful goods will be produced. Right? Poverty will not be addressed. Social welfare is not an objective, etc. etc. And then make a conclusion saying that because in case of India, the number of poor people are the highest in the global market, right? Number of hungry people is very high. Income inequality and wealth inequality is already existing. It would not be appropriate to adopt the model of capitalism. The best suited model for Indian economy is a mixed economy model. That is your conclusion. Done? So that is basically how you approach these kind of questions, right? So this question appeared a couple of years ago from this chapter that we have discussed so far. That is basically the model of the mixed economy, capitalism, etc. Then the types of goods, the law of demand, law of supply, right? Elasticities, savings, investment, and capital formation. Okay. So any questions? Any other doubts you people have? Please do let me know. Otherwise, we can take a break now. Questions are not getting displayed. My dear, if the questions are not getting displayed, please hit refresh there itself. Please hit refresh so that automatically the page will refresh and you will keep on getting right the questions. And don't keep on asking whether this is a live session or that session, this session. Then from next class, I'll bring Hindu newspaper of today and I'll keep on showing it whenever you ask me whether this is a live session or not. Okay. The link for the PPT is already uploaded. Please download it from the portal itself. Previously, iPhone was very costlier and it buyed for a status like a Veblen good, but now due to low price, many people are buying, so the good category will change. Of course, yes. But again, please understand, if you look at the per capita income in India, right, not everyone can afford an iPhone, right? So even today, iPhone is used like a status symbol. For example, I'm pretty sure you must have experienced this. If you have an iPhone, if your friend has an iPhone or somebody else has an iPhone, automatically your assumption is that the person might have sufficient amount of income. Okay. Does the goods supplied by the ration dealers come under giffen goods? Right? What do you mean by ration dealers? right? Because ration dealers basically supply the goods which are provided by the government. Okay. Okay. Is it okay to study only from the PPTs instead of reading books when we don't have enough time? My recommendation is please use one static source book. My recommendation, strong recommendation by the way, use one static source. Okay. And many of you are asking, sir, if you ask me to read a book, what should I read in a book? Simple. If you purchase any book on Indian economy, there'll be around 700 pages or 800 pages or even 900 pages. In addition to that, you're supposed to read current affairs. You're supposed to update current affairs. Will you have sufficient time to read all the 900 pages? But more importantly, should you read 900 pages? Answer is no. Absolutely no. Don't waste your time. Whatever topics I discuss in the classroom, read it from the book. And in many of the books, some topics which have updated in the current affairs, that will not be available in the books. Don't worry, whatever we discuss in the classroom, listen to it very carefully and then revise it. Done? Okay, so let's take a break now. We'll restart the discussion at 5:45 p.m. Join the class again at 5:45. We'll restart it. Thank you. Take care.